Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are going to be discussing a pretty big Ninjago Crystalized story element that was just revealed to us Ninjago fans through the Garmadon solo comic. In case you guys have not been made aware, yes, Garmadon does indeed have a solo comic series that's running right now. In fact, the 4th issue just came out recently, and I just talked about it through a review video on this very channel. The Garmadon comic is indeed canon for those wondering, and it does take place after Ninjago March of the Oni, and from what I can understand right now, it'll tie directly into Ninjago Crystalized and the storyline featuring Garmadon in that very season. Obviously, we know that Garmadon is going to be in Ninjago Crystalized. He's been in the trailers, he's been in the sets, and like I said, something was just revealed in the Garmadon comic series that may imply how his powers work and how exactly his character will be during Ninjago Crystalized. So before we dive on into the specifics of this video, I must give you guys a very heavy spoiler warning, both for Ninjago Crystalized if I do end up getting something that I theorize about correct in today's video, and also for the Garmadon solo comic. I would highly recommend that you guys read the comic series if you have not done so just yet. I think it's worth reading, and I think it's definitely worth it if you want to understand the full extent of Garmadon's character in Ninjago Crystalized. The recent issue of the Garmadon comic explored Garmadon's inner thoughts and his inner struggle with finding out who he is and what he wants. What side does he align himself with? All of that was explored in a recent issue of the Garmadon comic. Throughout the entire comic, Garmadon was being pursued or at least stalked by a strange-looking being similar to himself. For lack of a better term, I will call this Shadow Garmadon. Now, Shadow Garmadon turned out to be a figment of Garmadon's imagination, not really real, but it does represent something very important deep down inside that Garmadon was struggling with, that of course being his identity. It was just revealed that Shadow Garmadon this entire time was a skewed view of Garmadon's self-image. The Shadow Garmadon morphs into Garmadon's younger self right after he was bitten by the Devourer, and he questions himself as to whether or not the choices that he's making are his own. Does he still get to determine his path even if it was predetermined by evil? The sequence itself is really heartfelt, really chilling to read as well, and the writing combined with the idea of Garmadon looking back on his life and even communicating with his former self, his younger self, his more pure self, that was a treat to see. But it also means a lot for Ninjago Crystalized, in the sense that Garmadon's new power may have just been obtained during this issue. Of course, in the Ninjago Crystalized trailer, we can see Garmadon with a brand new set of powers. His normal form has 2 arms, while his Oni form retains the 4-armed classic Garmadon look, and of course his Oni form does have wings now, which it did not have during Season 10, March of the Oni. In the Garmadon comic, after Garmadon comes to terms with his younger self and discovers who he is fully, he embraces that newfound identity and unlocks some type of new power. The most recent issue does kind of end on a cliffhanger, and we're not exactly sure what his powers are just yet, but I imagine in the next issue those powers will be displayed 100%, and I would not be surprised if his powers are similar to the powers displayed in the Ninjago Crystalized trailer. For example, his new Oni form having wings, and of course a new power set stronger than ever before. I imagine if Garmadon has been training with these powers for quite some time, in Ninjago Crystalized he will literally be at the top of his game, and the most comfortable in his own skin that he's ever been. I will say, the only hiccup here is that I believe Ninjago Crystalized Part 2 will come out before the next issue of the Garmadon comic, meaning that we might need to backtrack a little bit and piece the storyline together once Garmadon issue 5 does eventually come out, especially if the powers that he's going to be displaying in that comic are the same ones that we're going to be seeing in Ninjago Crystalized. But in order to get the full context, Ninjago fans need to read this comic series. It is very important for Garmadon's character, and I would totally recommend reading it once again if you guys have not done so just yet. Like I said, I believe we will see a lot of the Garmadon comic pay off in Ninjago Crystalized once Garmadon does show up, and I can't wait to see how the comic connects with the show, and vice versa. With that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. That'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here today. Leave a comment down below discussing what you think of the connection between the Garmadon comic and the Ninjago Crystalized series. Do you think in issue 5 we may see a power set similar to what we saw in the Ninjago Crystalized trailers, or do you think what we see in the comics will simply just be the start of this new reformatted Garmadon power set? Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and that'll wrap it up for my thoughts here. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is TannerFishies, and I'll talk to you guys again later. Peace.